I wanted to jump on quick and just have a little chat about the shame that we feel around what things cost. And ways that we are kind of tricked into spending money, tricked by ourselves. You know, I know that there are advertisers out there and everything doing their own thing, but a way that our minds trick ourselves into spending money that we don't need to spend. So I mentioned in a previous video that we were looking for shoes for my young one. So we went out to the shop the other day and we had an idea in our head. This is how much we want to spend on shoes. So we went in. There was a good few pairs there that we could say to him, which ones do you want? Knowing that like these are the ones that we can spend the money on. So he picks out his shoes. He's delighted with his shoes. And we go up to the till. We're paying for the shoes, and the price that she gave us was double what they were supposed to be. So straight away, my husband said, oh, it shouldn't be that much. It should be this much. So she goes with him anyway, and she looks at the shelf, and somebody had moved the shoes. So the shoes were on the wrong shelf, and they were actually supposed to be above. And so the ones above were double the price. So the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, we should probably just get them. Like he was obviously the one that said, oh, they're not supposed to be that much. My first instinct, I think that I would have done that too, given the chance. But my first initial instinct that really made me think was, we should just pay for them. Like, I don't want her to think that we're being cheap, you know, and that was the first thing that came to mind. So that was the shame of, you know, I don't want her to think that we can't afford the cheaper ones, which is stupid. It's so stupid. And then the second thing that came to mind was, but he picked those shoes. He picked those himself, and now he's going to be so sad if we can't get those shoes. And, you know, we're going to have to explain to him that, no, you have to go and pick different shoes. And in the split second that this had happened, all of these things are running around my head, and I'm thinking, oh God, should we just buy the shoes? But then I had to snap myself out of it and say, no, we came here with a budget. We have to, like, if we want to get anywhere with saving money and being more careful with our money, we have to stick to the rule that we set for ourselves when we came in here. So we went back over there, and my son said, you know, what are we doing back over here? And I said, oh, we have to pick different shoes. And he said, oh no, I wanted those ones. And I said, oh yeah, but those ones were actually too much. They were supposed to be up there. And I actually said to him, because him and his brother were trying to move shoes. And I said to them, well, that's why you don't move the shoes. That's why we told you off for doing that, because this is what happens. So that was a little lesson for them. But we just kind of said to him, look, we have to pick some different shoes, because those were actually too much. We weren't going to spend that much when we came in here. And we gave him another 4 or 5 options, and he was fine. He picked out new shoes, different shoes. He said, oh, I want these ones. So we tried them on. He had a little run around as fast as he could. Look how fast these shoes are. That was grand. And then we went up to the till, we paid for the shoes, and he was delighted. Absolutely delighted with his new shoes. There was no problem. So I just wanted to share it, because I think I'm not the only one that gets caught in that, like, I want to give him everything. I want to give him, you know, all of the things. I don't want to have to, like, money. I don't want money to be an issue, but it is an issue in this day and age. Money is an issue, and he didn't mind in the end. You know, it wasn't something that bothered him. I think it's us that feels like it's going to bother them. And at the end of the day, like, I know coming out there that whether or not the lady behind the till thought that we were cheap, it doesn't matter. She didn't. She was lovely. She was like, oh no, that shouldn't be right. You know, we'll have to move them. And, you know, she was fine. But it was just my own mind, that it's your own mind that creates these things, that I'm going to be judged for not spending this money. And, you know, so anyway, I just wanted to share that, because I think it's a very, like, normal everyday thing that happens. If it's a personal thing that's happened, that happened to us yesterday, but I think it's a very normal everyday thing that happens all the time, whether it's like lollipops in the shop, or, you know, whatever it might be, whether you're in Tesco and you go to buy something and you thought it was on offer, and then when you get to the till it's not on offer, and you're like, oh, I don't want to cause a fuss, so I'll just buy it anyway. No, go back and change the thing. Go back and get the thing that it was supposed to be, or tell them this was supposed to be on offer, you know. And, like, look after the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves, is what they say, and it's right, it really is.